worked with Bob at True West Magazine for, I guess, about 20 years now. And one of the things I admire about Bob is that, not that we both came from northern Arizona, but he thinks under pressure. He is really a quick thinker. The True West Magazine staff, we had a retreat up in the Rim Country not too long ago, and we woke up the next morning and Bob was missing. And we waited around, we went ahead and had coffee and waited around, and Bob shows up and he had a deer slung over his shoulder. And he'd gone hunting that morning, and but there was a game warden standing right there when Bob walked in, and he said, "This is not deer season." And Bob said, "Don't know that." He says, "It's illegal to hunt deer." And Bob said, "Yeah, I know that." He says, "You killed a deer." And Bob said, "What?" He says, "What do you think that thing is slung over your shoulder?" And Bob went, "Ah!" That's thinking under pressure. Bob's good at that. Before we induct Bob tonight, we have a couple of people who would like to say a few words about him. So please welcome to the stage first, wonderful Russ Shaw.
Bob, the impact Bob has had on my life, if I even look, we did so many, like, it seemed like 1,000 different joke things together, and all of them were, he was the easiest, most effortless person I ever worked with in doing live stuff. I mean, there's never been someone that I had this back and forth timing thing with like Bob. He was just always amazing. What he also gets credit for is he changed the nature of my real estate business. This is actually a fact, this is a true story. Before I got plugged into that morning show, I've been in real estate about 12 years, and I had been doing between maybe 17, 22 deals a year. After I got on that show, I made a deal with the general manager. They gave me 10 free spots a week in exchange for original comedy production, which I gave to them. What was amazing is it took us a year to make the radio commercial work. I thought they were lying to me and were running the spot. But as it just turns out, everything we were trying was stupid and didn't work no matter what we thought it was going to work. What was amazing is that then once we figured out how to make it work, I had the best 3 years I'd ever had in my career at that time, popped it up to 60 deals a year. And when I lost that deal, which was the very best thing that ever happened in my career, the second best thing was getting the deal. The very best thing was losing the deal when the station got sold. And some guy said, "I don't want you to think of me as a suit." I thought, Bob and I both thought we like suits, but you are just a suit because they didn't give a shit. The morning show was gone, and because I was part of it, I'm gone. And it was like losing a corporate job. And then I started advertising on KTAR, and the next year I did 100 deals, and from there built it up to like 400. But the point is, if I didn't have that break from being connected to Bob Bell, I wouldn't have ever been where I am today in the real estate business. So I want to thank you again, my buddy Bob.
There are a lot of Bob Boze Bell and wonderful Russ adventures that Russ and some with my favorite was when they worked together on the wonderful Russ for Governor campaign. And Bob and Dan's Razz Review printed a picture of wonderful Russ standing next to the Capitol holding an enema bag. You know, remember those with those? And it said, "Wonderful Russ for Governor. He knows what Arizona needs." Bill Compton was an amazing and excellent interviewer and did a public affairs program every day. So, of course, during the elections, he had candidates come in for interviews. So he had Raul Castro came in to because he was running for governor, and so wonderful Russ had equal time. So I think there was a moment where they met, and Russ said, "Hi, I'm wonderful Russ," and he said, "Hi, I'm wonderful Raoul." I don't think he was happy to meet us. But I told you I would tell you about the first time I met Bob was actually at a party, and he was going around telling everybody that he had a pickup truck and a big cock. Well, at least the fact that he had a pickup truck was absolutely true. It wasn't really a big cock, it was a little plastic chicken that was in the truck. But it was funny. And right away I said, someday this guy will be in the Hall of Fame. I particularly enjoyed Bob's days on the radio. I used to listen to him when he was at KSLX. I thought, let's hear it for that show. That was a great show. It was two great shows. Because there were kind of two different eras there. There was the show with David, Boze and Jones, with David Jones. That was great. David was a radio professional, knew what he was doing. Bob was Boze, and they had a lot of fun together. It was really a fun show to listen to. And then it transitioned into my good friend John Geesey and Jeannie Cedello and Bob, and I thought they were terrific. I thought they had great stuff. But kind of had a feeling when Bob did the pretending to be a black guy on Buckeye Road selling crack.
Black like Bob.
Black like
Sure I did.
And then when they told everyone in the valley that the Indians were revolting on the reservation and that they shouldn't go out because they might get killed. And the FBI, was it the FBI showed up at the station? Scottsdale Police. Same thing. I had a feeling that maybe Bob should be thinking about doing something else. You think about the stuff that back when you were a kid, things that you had a passion for, right? For me, it was baseball. I love baseball. Or you know, maybe Western movies or whatever it was. But for Bob, it was the Old West, and he told you about that. But here's a guy that took that passion and went through all those funny things we've been talking about. But then he eventually settled down into that passion for the Old West and all those stories about Jesse James and Billy the Kid and all of those people. And he turned it into more than a career. It's definitely a career. It's actually multiple careers because he's known as an artist and he brings us those characters and he makes them alive. But then he also, as we've heard, he bought that magazine, True West, the magazine of his youth, and he turned it into a commercial success. And not only a commercial, but a critical success as well. And he continues to tell these stories and to keep that passion alive for people. And he had a couple of things that along the way, that little epiphanies for me. Once I was talking to my son, and he was a bit of an artist, and I was trying to connect with him and make him aware of what it was that he was doing. And I said, hit on this idea that an artist is somebody who sees things that we don't see, and then has the ability to let us see them. And that's what Bob does. And he does it in so many ways. And he does it in depth. He does it in this high production level of the magazine, or he just goes home and whips it out. At lunchtime. If you're on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about because we see those all the time. And they're wonderful. And things that Bob does on his lunch hour, you know, other people spend a year trying to achieve and can't. So that's pretty special. And the reason that that's important to all of us is because it lets us feel so good about the fact that somebody is doing that. There was a poem years ago that struck me. It was called Giacometti's Dog. And Giacometti was a famous sculptor. And he had made this sculpture of a dog. It was in a museum in New York somewhere. And it was so good that people lined up. They would wait in line for an hour just to go there and look at Giacometti's dog. And the line from the poem was, people will stand in line all day to watch one man love anything enough. And I think that's what we do with Boze Bell.
There's a lot of history in this room, and I'm going to call every one of you out. If we've ever kissed, if we've ever been in radio together, I want to hear from you.
All right, we just got off script here a little bit. I was supposed to come up and talk. Okay. Gianna Boomersbach was supposed to be here this evening. She couldn't be here. She has had some surgery, but she said she's fine. But she sent a little message, and then I lost it, and so I called her, and she dictated it back to me, and so I'm going, this is not verbatim, but she says she is so sorry, Bob, she can't be here this evening. She says it's a well-deserved honor. One of the first people she knew in Arizona, when she met Bob. She worked with Bob at the New Times in 1978, and she's still working with Bob. She said she admires his integrity and honesty. She has a great love for Bob. She says she wants Bob to know that after all these years, I'm still dancing with the guy who brung me. Right, it's not your turn yet, Bob. I just can't wait to rock and roll. We're gonna rock and roll here in just a minute here. I just wanted to say that I first became aware of Bob when he had the Raz Review, and he put an issue out called The 103 Irregular Arizonans, and I was one of them, so I got a copy of it. And I loved it, and I became a big fan of Bob. I was also a big fan of the Honky Tonk Sue comics. And I bought an ad, actually, in an ill-fated issue where there was an attempt on the lives of the Beatles by a sniper that unfortunately came out right before John Lennon was shot. So Bob pulled that issue off the racks out of respect for John Lennon, so I never got much traction from that ad. Sometime in the 80s, Bob was playing music with a couple friends of mine in the Raz band, and they were backing up a fella called Kenny Brazil, the Southern Tornado. And it was a wacky show, and I sat in with him several times, and I did several interviews with Bob on KSLX and that radio show out in Cave Creek. He's one of the funniest guys I know, and he's always been a big part of Arizona to me, and I'm honored to induct him into the Amahawk tonight. Bob Bell. Outstanding achievement and major contribution to the entertainment culture in the state of Arizona, Boze Bell is inducted into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame November 13th, 2016.
This room is full of so much history. I can hardly stand it. As I walked around, I'm looking at a whole bunch of people that I love dearly. We've been through so many crazy things, as wonderful Russ and Marty so aptly pointed out. And I you all dearly, and I was asking my wife Kathy, who I've been, by the way, been married for 37 years. It's the most successful thing I've ever done in my life. I was a rock and roll drummer, as you know, and I was an underground cartoonist, and it didn't bode well for being successful in almost anything. So I burnt through so many careers. They talk about my career in the Raz Review. Well, yeah, that lasted about 5 years. And my career on the radio lasted 10 years. And so I'm really, really proud of being married to Kathy Sue Radina for 37 years. It's not easy being married to an only child. Just want to get that out there. So I asked her, I said, so-and-so said they're coming, the first 2 girls I ever kissed in junior high are here tonight. Would you please stand up? Karen Johnson and Jan Prefontaine. Both excellent kissers. God bless them both. My Kingman cowboy cousins are here. Give it up! Give it up for the Kingman cowboy cousins. And my radio tribe, the people who know how to go on the air and fill dead air, they're here tonight. Jeannie Sadello! Give it up! In fact, the whole time that Marty and Russ were giving their anecdotes, she kept poking me and saying, well, that's not bad. What about the time when you were at Bozina? And I said, don't tell that. Don't tell that. And I have to tell you, we would think up these things that were just crazy. And then I would want to get out of the meeting and go home because I had a 45-minute drive to Cave Creek. And so I'd go, yeah, okay, I'll be a black person tomorrow. Okay, fine. And so I'd be driving in at 4 in the morning. I'm going, I agreed to put shoe polish on my face and drive a Ford Econo line down to 16th Street in Jefferson and say, hi, I'm here to help you in the park, Needle Park. So I stopped at about Thunderbird at a gas station because I was late. And David Kay says, we're coming up on a bit. Do you have something? I said, no. And he said, did you put the shoe polish on? I said, no, I did not. No. And he said, well, you agreed to it yesterday. And I said, yeah, I was just trying to get out of the meeting. So he says, I'm coming to you in 30 seconds. You better have something. So I stop. I get out of the car. I go over to the gas station. The guy's inside. He's giving change to somebody. And David comes on the air and he goes, hey, we got Bob Boze Bell. He's black like Bob. And he's on here at Thunderbird now. What's going on here? And I go, hey, sir, you don't seem like you want to serve me. Is it because I'm black? And the guy goes, you're not black. Sir, is this an insult to me as a black person? It's all downhill from there. And I ended up buying a guy crack, Benny Joe Boze Brown. I went into the park, and picture this, a white guy gets out of a Ford Econo line with a big phone pack like we had then. He's going, hi, you want to talk? And people start fleeing out of the park. And Benny Joe Boze Brown didn't leave. And he went with me. We went down to Broadway, Funky Broadway, and we went into social clubs and stuff, and he was my guide. And then we got done with the show. It was a fantastic show. And we went to the Matador to have Huevos Rancheros, my favorite, and I said, I'll buy you lunch. And I thought that I was being so magnanimous. And Benny Joe Boze Brown looked me right in the eyes and he said, you're going to buy me crack. And I said, how much is it? And he said, 75 bones. So I bought him crack. You know they didn't play that in the video. I pulled out my crack. Anyway, we did some really wild things that were just absolutely crazy. But the one I wanted to tell you was Bozina, and that Jeannie Sadello thought this up. Let's have Bob as a woman. And so I got in there early, and they dressed me up like a skink, and it was not hard to do. And except I had a mustache. And we went down to Pishke's down in Scottsdale, and we came in, and I'm wearing a dress, right? And we got the phone pack, and Jeannie's like going over, and she was so genius. She would go up ahead, and she would prime everybody to ask me weird stuff, you know. And so, what? So the construction, they asked me, they said, the people that were all sitting at the bar, and they go, is he attractive? And I knew immediately what it's like to be a woman. They all were looking at me like the biggest doofus, you know, like that guy's a 2, man. And I was just heartbroken. I'm just like, it was a bit, you know, but I went, oh, I get it, man. I get what being a woman's like. That's ridiculous. Anyway. So that was my radio career, and I went, I got...
Radio.
What was that?
Come on. The all-male radio station, Bob.
I'm not going to talk about all-male radio station. That was a what? One day we did the Baloney Bunny, and I went down to Gay Denny's, which is 7th Avenue in and my son said, why is it called Gay Denny's, Dad? I said, I don't know. Everybody just calls it Gay Denny's. I don't know. So I'm in a bunny suit, and I go in, and all these businessmen are having meetings. And I go over and I said, hi, I'm the Baloney Bunny. And this guy, you know, a Republican, he goes, get the out of here! I'm in the middle of a bit, sir. It's live, and I just want to know if you believe in the Baloney Bunny. And just David's back at the station. Beep, 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 beep. So anyway, I got on the air as a fluke, and I was fired the same way. Easy come, easy go. And what happened was I was working in New Times, and I had a new cartoon book out called Low Blows. And it was a compilation of all my cartoons. And so I would, we had a PR person at New Times, and she would set up me being on morning shows. And so I did the KDKB morning show, John and Bill, and I did the Dave Pratt show. And then I came in one Wednesday, and they said, hey, can you go to KSLX on Thursday? And I said, who's that? And they said, well, it's the old Copa. They just were sold, and they changed their format from Top 40 to Classic Rock.
Yeah.
And would you go down there and be on the morning show? And I said, okay, fine. And they said, they want to know if you'll do the news. And I said, well, call them back and ask them if I have to do it straight. And they called back and they said, you can do anything you want. And so that was the wildest morning David K. Jones said he had ever spent in radio, because I was just blasting off the walls and anything. I would interrupt commercials. I would do, and the news stories were all just absolutely crazy. And I was saying I was going to do to the news what Imelda Marcos did to the Philippines. That was my goal. So I get off the air and I'm ready to leave because I got to go to my day job at New Times. And the program director, Dick Bascom, is smoking in the control. Remember that those days? He goes, hey, I want to talk to you. So we go down this dingy hall with a dingy carpet. We go in this back room there. There's records on all the walls, records on the floor. And he says, hey, man, I want to hire you, man. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, I don't have a radio voice. I don't know how to run any of the equipment. And I don't know what radio people make. And he goes, what do you want? I said, well, let me get back to you on that. He goes, okay, fine. So I run down to New Times, and I call my friend Tommy Vasticue, who's the general manager of KDKB. And I go, hey, Tommy, I just got offered a job at KSLX, your mortal enemy. And he said, well, you know, Bob, I've always thought you were talented, and I always thought you had a lot of talent to be on the radio. And I said, yeah, but you never offered me a job. He said, okay, here's the deal, Bob. If they offer you $15,000 a year, they're just slumming. It's a trick. It's just a joke. Don't take it. And if they offer you 30, it's the real deal. So I go out to KSLX at the Safari Resort. We go next door. I'm having a beer with the manager, Carl Hamilton. And he says, Bob, we think you have a future in radio. We think you can communicate people like crazy. And he said, we are going to pay you $15,000. I said, no thanks, I got a full-time job, thanks a lot. I came home, I told my wife, I said, boy, I'm glad that's off my plate, because that's no other distraction. I'm already putting in 50 hours a week in new times, I don't need this. Phone rings, pick it up. All right, we'll give you 30 and you can leave at 9. They upped it to 60 and then it went to 120. I was making $120,000 a year before I went to work. Here's the moral of the story. I got caught saying Besame Culo on the air. And I went out as quick as I came. Well, enough of those crazy stories. It's a total thrill to be here. I have to concur with the Zane brother, wonderful Russ, that Hans Olsen is the reason I am standing on the stage tonight. Thank you, Hans Olsen. And now that I'm in the club, okay, you know, you're going to be, that's my goal, is to get you into the club. Because that's a travesty. You're not in there. I understand all the integrity and stuff like that, but that's going to be my number one goal, is to get him in there. I need to thank Dee Dee Wood. Dee Dee Wood is a big reason. Thank you, Dee Dee. Now, what most people don't know is that Hans and I played in bands together from time to time. And my favorite story, in fact, I asked him to close the show with this song because it means so much to me. We got a gig, and it was Steve Dennis, Jack Elvis, and Hans joined us, and we went up to Lake Havasu at the Nautilus Inn. And Daniel Harshberger, sitting right over here from Kingman, Arizona, his fraternity, the Sigma Pies were having a party, and so Dan got us the gig. And so we're going to play right on the beach. And we go out there and we're playing our songs, and if you've ever been in a band, you know this is the truth. There's always, at every single gig you ever do, that one drunk guy who will not stop requesting that one song that you don't want to do. No, we did Louie Louie. We did Gloria. We did Satisfaction. We did Jumpin' Jack Flash. We did Proud Mary. The song he wanted to hear will close the show tonight. And every time I hear it, I want you all to sing it too, by the way. So we're going to get a little dangerous here now, because as some of you know, the last time I played drums did not end well. And we practiced a couple of these songs this afternoon, and I may have to demur on a couple of these tunes because they're too fast. Would you like to do that now, Senor?
Come on.
Are you going to do that now? All right. We got to set up the band, so we're going to take a 10-minute break. Thank you so much for this award. And get ready to rock and roll!
Ever plan to motor west? Take my way, the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Chicago to LA. More than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Goes to St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City, looks so pretty and see Amarillo, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino, and